Hi and welcome to the German Fußball podcast. I'm your host Markus Fjortoft, and as always joined by Dad in another country, in a different continent as well. Dad, we have a lot to go through, not only the Bundesliga, but you've met a lot of interesting people over the weekend as well, to do with football, but also entertainment, track and field, some of the GOATs, I'd say, within their different industries. And I guess where I'd start is the link being rather clear, since I'm in Kansas City and you met Ted Lasso, or Jason Sudeikis, which is his real name. And that is a show that I think connects generations, and what a show it is. But you played in a rather lovely, I'd say, message from him. And here I find myself. And where is Jason Sudeikis from? Kansas City.
Yeah, which was a start, because you have to tell people why you're in Kansas. You're in Kansas City. You have to tell them that before we go on to the video, I guess.
Yeah, well, my better half is from Kansas. So here I find myself on a little visit. And so when I was talking through it with Anna and the in-laws yesterday, we also found a rather interesting link. And that was the fact that in the show, Ted Lasso, they're constantly made references to Kansas. So there are some puns that, are only relevant to people who live here. And I'm being able to at least understand them through my better half. But then we found out yesterday that Jason Sudeikis also went to the same school as Anna as well. So the link is most certainly there. And so it was just fun, and also very, I guess I say, endearing when you have that video clip in which he gave a little shout out to myself and her. Most disappointingly, though, was that he was a UNC fan, the rival of Duke, but we'll let that slide, the way he said that he let it slide that we supported Duke. But other than that, what a guy. And by the sounds of it, Dad, and I'm glad you confirmed it, but he seems like a proper gentleman as well.
Yeah, and I have to tell you a bit about the background. I, of course, knew that Ted Lasso was from that neighborhood of Anna, your girlfriend. And because Premier League, they got its rule that my interviews used to go viral. Now they kind of do that in a rule which is, I guess, is fair, but that our from Viaplay, where I am from, can't be then taken out in the English market. So I think that so what I do now after interviews, I go out in the empty stadium. This is at Tottenham, of course, a great stadium, and a football stadium is very, very empty. So I go out and start doing my stuff, and I see the pitch keepers, the green keepers working. And then suddenly I see Coach Beard coming out. The funny thing about that was that in the morning, I started my journey from Manchester, because I did City against Arsenal, of course, with Erling Haaland's great show. And I met Ted Beard. I met Coach Beard in the lift. And I'm, as you know, as the rest of the family, big fan of Ted Lasso. And I said to him, this is early in the morning, I said to him, well, I need to take a selfie, blah, blah, blah. And he did it. It looks a bit grumpy, which we all are in the morning. So when he came onto the pitch with the players, I said to him, it's great to see you again. We took a selfie this morning. I'm not sure if you remember, but you look a lot fitter now. And ha. And out came Ted Lasso. And I just call him Ted Lasso. And he comes out with his fantastic charisma, with his positive kind of view to life kind of thing. And he came out, and I said, wow, pardon me, but I have to take a selfie. And then I start saying, as he was doing his stuff, they were doing some photos with Tottenham Hotspur, I guess, for the official kind of thing with all his team. So I was thinking of you and Anna, and I was thinking of that connection. So I told him that, and he was very interested, very polite, a very good guy. So I ending up hitting asking for a video, and he gave the blessing to do that, and we can listen into this video here, Markus, for our listeners and viewers.
Anna, Marcus, Jason here. Hello. I'll let the whole Duke thing slide and still offer a hello. As a Kansas Jayhawk fan and as a North Carolina Tar Heel fan. But, you know, that's all right. Coach K, good people.
And that was Ted Lasso with the endearing greeting. I'm a big hit now, Dad, because of you. I must say, you meet all these different players. You've probably met them all, but I must say, when you sent that video, I thought this is probably the coolest greeting I can get. So not only a big hit for myself, but also obviously the in-laws here in Kansas. So appreciate that, Dad. And I guess when we move on, it's not the only things you have been doing this weekend. Fill us in on how your weekend has or did look.
Yeah, but because we shouldn't start saying that you were to a bachelor party in Mexico, so I don't think we should go into details on that one. But yes, I was a tourist guide. Your cousins, 4 of them, 4 kids of my sister, came over. Yeah, I've made them always present because my wife, your mom, will always say, "Do you sort out the presents?" And I always ending up and say, "Okay, I'll fix a trip to England and we watch a game and confirmations and birthdays." So as you know, this weekend I had 4 nephews. I had 1 father and 1 brother over. Went all the way up to Manchester because we were based in London with a big car, 9 hours. That's another story. I was a bit frustrated at the end. A lot of chocolates, McDonald's, and Red Bulls to get that trip going. But it was funny because I went to the game. They were there. I got them where their tickets were. I was not working, but I was still had some part of the same tickets that I had. And I was thinking when I was there, I'd use social media for Viaplay. So when I came there, they said, "But yeah, listen, in a few minutes, Bain Sport and Sky Sport are going to make an interview with Usain Bolt, the fastest man on earth." Usain Bolt being a big name, of course, in the whole world, but especially in Norway too, because we have our Bislett Games where he has been a star for so many occasions. So I ending up being 3rd in a row in a press conference room of Manchester United, coming up to him after the big channels, Bein Sport and Sky. And I said, "Listen, I don't have a camera, but you're still, as you know, a big hit in Norway, and you're a famous Manchester United supporter, as we do know. So I will use my phone doing a selfie video interview." And he was good as gold. Well, literally good as gold. And you can just listening to what he said to me on my phone here.
With the most famous Man United supporter, we have to say, in Norwegian, we know him from Bislett Games, of course, and today at Old Trafford. Tell us about your passion for Manchester United.
For me, from the start, it was always the love from first sight. For me, Manchester United is the biggest club in the world, you know what I mean? And they have brought me so much great memories for me. So I'm just happy to be here and see we're on the way up again.
And they are missing a quick number 9. They say for the next season, yeah, you know where I'm going. Could you be the striker they are looking for?
Listen, for me, one of my fondest moments, I've dreamt about this. If I could play for Manchester United, it would be a dream come true. You know what I mean? There's something that I always dream about.
As a Norwegian, I have to ask about the striker just down the road. He's blue, Erling Haaland. Tell us how hard it is to keep that explosion going for a whole season.
For me, I think he's young. He has youth on his side, so I definitely think he shouldn't have a problem. When he gets older, then it's going to be an issue.
But can you still enjoy a player like Haaland, even if you're a United supporter?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. You like to see greatness, you know what I mean? You enjoy watching football just as I do. It's great to see wonderful players, you know what I mean? It's sad sometimes, but you do enjoy watching.
Enjoy the game,
right,
and great to meet you.
Right.
And that was Usain Bolt. I must say, this weekend of yours has an eclectic mix of people met. But yeah, it was funny when you were sending across these videos. I said, okay, Jason Sudeikis, okay, I see. Usain Bolt, and then plus the weekend you had as well. Yeah, another typical weekend, I guess. Another typical weekend in the Bundesliga. And the only typical thing being now is that we say typical Dortmund, and then they won, and then they're back to slipping up, and then Bayern seem to have continued in their similar fashion. And, you know, despite their win against Hertha, who we could say now are probably the first team with confidence we can say will be going down, it'll be very hard for them at the very least. Still not entirely convinced by it, but what has been stealing the headlines, that is what happened in the Bochum Dortmund game. Now, we will discuss this and whether should it come down to a penalty. Is that the way really Dortmund should be beating Bochum? But nonetheless, and you a reaction video on it. And you had a reaction video on it on Twitter. But talk us through this decision, which will prove monumental in the title race.
As we know, it's very, very close in the German Bundesliga. And as we also do know, that I've said that before, that Dortmund seems to lose points when they're playing good. Bayern are winning games when they're playing bad, which is a great habit to have. Now, this was the 5th round before the end of the season, so it's 4 games to go. So what's happening in Bochum? They're playing on Friday, and we talk about that because there will be a mind game now in the German Bundesliga. So we'll talk more about the advantage playing ahead, disadvantage playing ahead. So 1-0 after 5 minutes, Bochum in the bottom of the league. But Adeyemi equalized 2 minutes later. Okay, fair enough. Then in the 65th minute, Danilo, I think it was Danilo, well, he just attacked Adeyemi. I want one of the clearest penalties I've ever seen. I mean, the ever seen thing is a big thing, but it's a very, very clear penalty. So Stegemann, the referee, doesn't do anything. 65th minute. VAR is doing nothing. Just play on. Stegemann, after the game, he made a lot of interviews. He was a part of Double Pass, which is the big show. A bad scene on that one is that he had to have police protection. And I mean, get rid of such idiots that is threatening referees, because referees have the right to make mistakes, as managers and players do. But it was a clear penalty, and Dortmund felt robbed. They went into the dressing room of the referee afterwards. Well, it doesn't help. It doesn't help the reaction from the referee either. Somehow, I'm not sure about that. When the referees explain to us afterwards, they say sorry or whatever. That is a part of the thing that is good on a communication kind of level, but I don't like that too much. But I know because it won't help Dortmund. So Dortmund is losing 2 points in Bochum. They also had a Hummels goal in the 90th minute that was not given because of offside. But still, that Adeyemi penalty, it was so clear, Marcus. And as you were saying, we'll think that they will score on that one. They will have 3 points. They will still be a leader of in the Bundesliga. So now the day after, it's Bayern playing Hertha Berlin. As you were saying, Hertha Berlin been firing coaches, been firing their coach. Dardai is back. He's been I think this is the 3rd time he's come back. And they parked the bus. They worked very hard defensively, but at the end, I guess it was the 69th minute, Bayern Munich got to 1-0 and then the 2-0. Not a great day for Bayern Munich in terms of performance, but it was enough to take over the lead. And with 4 games to go this season, Marcus, now it's for Bayern to lose. And it's for Bayern to win again. Sorry, for Dortmund to win again.
In this title race, that it seems that none of the teams deserve to win it. So with Dortmund now drawing, Bayern winning against Hertha, which now seemed like a relief, winning against Hertha at home, without playing the prediction game too much, can we really confidently state that, it's for Bayern to win, of course, or to lose, sorry, but with this current form, would we expect either team to win the remaining 4 games?
Yeah, interesting question. And I also read when I prepared for this podcast that if Dortmund win the rest of the games, that won't help them because Bayern can win the rest of the games and then they will be champions. That would be the lowest number of points since the season 9 and 10. That is 12, 13 years ago, which tells you a bit. But I'm old-fashioned, Marcus. If you win the championship, you deserved it. You're a worthy champion because you can only beat the other teams and get more points than them in 34 rounds. And in a couple of years' time, we won't talk about the Bayern form in the season 22-23. They won the league. Having said that, when we do the analysis of the whole season, this has been a terrible season for Bayern because they're out of the cup, not getting the double. They're out of Champions League early, as they were last season against Villarreal. And Nagelsmann was fired. There's been question around Oliver Kahn and all that kind of thing. Salahamidzic, their recruitments haven't been good. So this has not been a good year for Bayern Munich. But if they end up winning the league, they deservedly win that. And I'm 100% sure of that. But it's a quite interesting fact, Marcus, because I made some notes and I put my glasses on because there are 4 games left of the season. And I think now it's not down to which formation do you play? Would you play with 3 at the back? Would you 4 at the back? It's down to the mind games. And as I was saying, Dortmund, they're not been good at that. But having said that, Bayern haven't been good at that either lately. There are a lot of players with a lack of form. And what is interesting, from the 4 games left, all the last round, as it is in every league, they're playing at the same time. Fair enough. They're playing as 15:30 German time. But the 3 other games before that in a different day or different time. So now the next game is Bayern playing in Bremen. That was an arch rival of Bayern. That is Bayern has been struggling in Bremen always, and Füllkrug, our favorite player. Bremen is then up for it. This is the main game of their season. Dortmund at home the next day against Wolfsburg, so they know what was being done in Werder Bremen, meaning they could be 4 points behind, or they could have the chance to go past them. Then in the 32nd round, it's on the same day, but Bayern is playing Schalke at home. Okay, they will win that game. Schalke, they give away goals for fun. They don't have for years. Not only this season, they do that everything. So Bayern will win that game. So 18:30, 3 hours later, or a half an hour or 1 hour later, when that game is finished in Bayern, Dortmund is playing Gladbach at home. So they will know, are we behind? Are we before? So are we ahead, And then the second last round is also interesting because then Bayern is playing at home again, but now they're playing Leipzig. Marco Rose, with his Leipzig team, you could say they are proven up there. They have a great team. Marco Rose, the former Dortmund coach, was fired at Dortmund, could make Dortmund champion. But Dortmund, they got Augsburg away the day after. Augsburg, not far from Munich. Stefan Reuter, the legendary Bayern coach, is the head of sport there. And that reminds me a bit, if we come down to this second round, that Dortmund just have to win the 2 games to win the championship. I think of back in the days when Leverkusen got their name Neverkusen. They lost the Champions League final, they lost the Pokal, the Cup final. But at the end of the season, they only had to win against Unterhaching. Unterhaching was even closer to Bayern. It's a small club. Well, Ballack and Topmüller, they managed to lose that game. Unterhaching player ending up going to the party which Bayern had. It was like the same city they were coming. And then so these mind games will be quite interesting. And in the 34th round, it's on the same time. Dortmund playing at home against Mainz. Bo Svensson going there. Bo Svensson, good organized team. But Bayern, they are in Cologne. So I just hope this goes down to the wire. I just hope that whatever happens, there is something to play with in the last game of the season, because that is magic. I've been a part of that, not to winning a championship. I've been a part of that to stay away, to avoid relegation. And I just look forward to this last games. And this is a mind game, Marcus. It's all about the mind.
Yes, and as you mentioned, you have been in these similar situations when it's come down to the wire at the very end of the season. Dortmund, of course, have 3 home games of the remaining 4, and have a very strong home form at that. What's also funny to look is if Union Berlin had beat Leverkusen, they would have kind of been in there as well, which I I would have wished for. What a lovely little added element that would have been. And then you have it down to the relegation battle as well, which is looking so awfully tight, and something that you are rather experienced in, having saved Eintracht Frankfurt back in the day. Having a brief look at that one, we could establish that Hertha are looking far off it. But then you have these teams that tend to just wanting to hold on. It's no teams that are really losing several games in a row. You have the likes of Bochum getting a point in Dortmund. You have Stuttgart under Sebastian Hoeneß that have been strong. Schalke, Hoffenheim, who've had a comeback after that terrible start on a Materazzo. It's really hard to predict who are the more favorable candidates to join Hertha Berlin too, isn't it?
Yeah, and you say at the end of the season, you say, well, deservedly over 34 games, so 34 rounds, you go down. The problem is now at the end of the season, if you get 2 wins, you put together 2 wins, you're out of it. Ask Bournemouth. I mean, Bournemouth, the form they had at the right time, have saved themselves. I mean, O'Neill, the manager there, fantastic. And you were saying Hoffenheim. You thought that Hoffenheim was out of it. They kind of got some space. Now they're back in again, to quote the Godfather, Al Pacino. But yeah, hard to tell. And I've always said that there is more nerves. There are more nervosity. You have to be more nervous at the back, because at the bottom of the table, it's not about getting into Europe or you winning the championship. That makes legends, of course. If Dortmund now will win the Bundesliga trophy, that would make them legends. But in Bayern Munich, it's just a normal day at the office. But the relegation battle, it's all about the exist of the club. They can take ages to come back. And we have also a look down in the Zweite Bundesliga. So Heidelberg and Darmstadt, well, they're not the biggest clubs in the world, are they? And they could go up now. And Hamburger Sportverein, everybody expect to win. Everybody expect them to come back. What happened this round? Of course, they lost. That was a key game for them, and they lost. And now it's for the others 2 teams to win. So very excitement in German football. But I have to say, Marcus, as we're getting landing soon. As we are speaking now, it's a Tuesday. We have the semi-finals of the German Cup. I'm very excited about that, because Bayern, my team, Eintracht Frankfurt, are playing tomorrow in Stuttgart. And the greatest news for me today was as Axel Hellmann, the CEO of Frankfurt, decided that he will fulfill his contract at Eintracht Frankfurt until 2027. Why is that important for Frankfurt? Because he's been around for many, many years. He's the continuity. He is a great, great CEO. I've cooperated a lot with him. Eintracht Frankfurt is my club in Germany. I've got some great memories there. I also cooperate with him on different projects between Norway and Germany. The connection there, Frankfurt being a bank city. Axel is a lawyer. Axel is a great clubman, and now there's been a vacant position as the head of the Bundesliga, and he's been one of the candidates there. He was also linked to Bayern. I'm not sure how far that was. I think that was just because of the Kahn situation, and that Axel is seen as one of the best in the business, and the best in the business should be a Bayern, which is the story of German football. But great news today, Tuesday, that Axel Hellmann will stay on as the CEO of Eintracht Frankfurt. I think that is good for them. It's also good for them in a time when Eintracht Frankfurt is struggling. I think it's 9 games now without to win, 1-1 draw with Augsburg this weekend. And people start talking about Glasner. I mean, hello. Also, Glasner done a fantastic job at Eintracht Frankfurt. And the funny thing is that if these people are criticizing Frankfurt, you say they need a new coach, Glasner would be the perfect profile to get in. Glasner, just remind you, he got Lask in Austria, Champions League, playoffs, I guess, back in the days into Europe. And then he got Wolfsburg into the Champions League. And then he got Frankfurt into the Champions League through winning the Europa Cup final. Won year ago, not even a year ago. So I hope that these, well, I'll lead myself now far out of the window, but if Eintracht Frankfurt would go through now to the Pokal finale in Berlin, I hope the same critics will be there cheering Oliver Glasner when he comes back with a trophy to Frankfurt after that final.
Well, certainly. And when we look back at these last few years, that as well, in terms of the runs Eintracht Frankfurt have made in the various competitions and the way they have built up on one achievement and then excelled and beat that achievement. We remember when they went to the Europa League semi-final, lost against Chelsea, undeservedly, you might state, and then they've gone on to improve and better themselves. And even still, despite a disappointing end to the season, they still have the opportunity to go to the Pokal finale, and that's a fantastic testament to where the club was, because it wasn't many years ago until Frankfurt were maybe a bit down below, not competing for those European places, let alone European Cup. So yeah, vital that you have those bearers of continuity through an Axel Hellmann. And credit where credit is due to the likes of Nico Kovac and Wolfsburg, Bo Svensson and Mainz, who've been able to cut down on that on the points behind and compete for European places, which will also be interesting as Leverkusen compete for a final spot in the Europa League. They have now European spot, and who gets European spot through the Pokal finale, etc. So that will be interesting to see kind of the domino effects of that. Like you said, there are also semifinals being played, and by the time this comes out, we'll be in the middle of the first semi-final. A lot to grab, a lot to analyze. Dad, any ending thoughts before we say Auf Wiedersehen?
No, I think that we started to talking about the thing that's the funny things when you meet people that inspire you, that you get role models. I think that we all should try to be with as many inspiring people. That is not only with stars, that is with people around us who are inspiring in our daily life. That is one thing, and it's also it's great. I love English football. I love my German football, as you know. I think it's great that we have the excitement that we do have in the Bundesliga. Of course, I'm very happy that Axel Hellmann will stay on in Frankfurt, because I think that the continuity at Frankfurt, as you were saying, was important, being and Philipp Holzer, being Peter Fischer, the president, Krösche, Glasner, they've been so vital to have that continuity. And I think that everybody who listens to this, they will think of their club and think how important leaders are at the club, because they are the ambassadors of the club. Continuity is very important. Yes, money is vital. Money is very vital. But if you see that you have to have the mixture between finances, you have to have the mixture of money and good leaders. That's why on the one side, you can say that Manchester City and Newcastle, a lot have been said about the state money. Yes, that is maybe for another podcast, Marcus. There is a lot of things that could be said about that. But they have to, at the same time, their recruitment for the leaders are very important. Then we can talk about the players. And then you have other clubs, well, Chelsea, at the moment, spending a lot of money. And as it seems, as it stands now, Crystal Palace is past them on the table. Then you see that the leadership is not there. There is not the knowledge of the sport, the leadership that you need. So I think that everybody will listen to this. They will maybe look to Germany and see that they have continuity on leader. They have not only a manager who speaks all the time. They also have head of sport. They've got a president. They got a Vorsitzende, so which is a kind of chef of the board. So I think that everybody will love to have their favorite club have great leaders. Sometimes a bit underestimated, because we always think, oh, I want my club to get the best players. I think in the next pray, you should also ask for better leaders. I think that is the key to any club, and it also helps to have some money.
This is an interesting topics, though, that you are raising, and these are the type of topics that we can discuss when the Bundesliga season is over, and we go through the summer as well, because it is a rather relevant topic with state money and the Bundesliga and what have you. So yeah, when we're off season, we can have these engaging conversation as well.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And mind you, in Germany, they have the 50+1 rule, meaning that the members are deciding. But, as I do say, now I start quoting myself, Bayern, they got 50 plus Uli Hoeneß. And we'll see next time we speak, Marcus. It's another exciting rounds. And I'll just send all my best wishes to Kansas. And if you see Ted Lasso, say hello. And till the rest of you guys, auf Wiedersehen. We'll see you next weekend.
Auf Wiedersehen.